And welcome to the call, everyone. This is the Enriching Gifts Education call. It is April 29th, 2020, and we're very fortunate to be on this call and to receive the information that we do each and every week from our host of the call, Mr. Ron Schneider. So, Ron, I want to welcome you to the call. I believe the direction we're going to go this evening is let it be organic, and if anyone has any comments or questions, we'll take them as they come in. But again, I want to say thank you for showing up each and every week to do this, to educate us all, because that's your life's passion, and it's infectious. You got the diehards on with you right now, and our mission is to get it out there to many others as well. So welcome to the call, Ron.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here this evening once again. So yeah, I'd like to just kind of leave it real casual tonight. Another week of nothing but depressing COVID-19 and social engineering and social distancing, and restaurants are closed, and just one more week of gloom and doom. So I'm not going to go there. But I did want to have just kind of get back to the old format of what we started out these calls. Is there anybody that has any questions regarding health issues? Because like tonight, I was watching TV just before I came on here, and they had an infectious disease specialist specializing in antibodies, and just like I said months ago, well, now it's showing extraordinary promise that the antibodies from the infected can now be used in plasma transfusions as an effective treatment of the COVID-19 or coronavirus. Well, that's what they've been doing for literally 30 to 50 years now, but no big surprise, and that's what's going to all come down to. So there's no reason to have all this pandemic hysteria, the closures, the burden on the general public, and it's just gone wacko. But anyways, so I want to get back to heart disease, cancers, just ordinary general health questions in general. If somebody wants to ask about the products, we can certainly do that. But I don't really have a topic for tonight, because I'm just getting sick of buying in this COVID-19 stuff. It's just not worth talking about anymore. The way they're blowing up the numbers, they're just, and now it says, oh, well, COVID-19 can cause strokes, heart attacks, can cause cancers, can cause this. Geez, COVID-19 seems to be able to do anything it wants in the universe, according to national television reporters. And it's just not true. It's not factual, but they got to have something to justify the crap that's going on. So anybody got any questions for the call tonight? Any health issues? Anybody that knows anybody with health issues? Anything?
And while you're thinking of your questions, please go ahead.
So can you speak on a ganglion cyst?
Ganglion cyst?
Yeah, and what possibly, if our products can help that, or what we can do about that. Janine's got that.
Well, cysts in general are really, really hard tissues. They're typically thrombin and chondroitin. They're very hard tissues. It's almost like a scar tissue that's kind of rounded out, if you will. The only thing that's going to really get that under control or alleviate it is long-term use of enzymes. And your immune system, when it's unleashed from having to do all the other stuff that it's doing for everybody, digesting your meal out of your blood, getting rid of all the cholesterol it's oxidizing, the uric acids it's oxidizing. When you give your body a break and your immune system a break, your immune system does have the ability to clean it up about 80 to 90%. But again, it's not something that you really need to worry about with your health. It's just kind of a discomfort and, kind of a uncomfortable thing to have, but it's not life-threatening or health-threatening for that matter. But then that being said, it also depends on what area and what part of the body it's actually attached to or grown on. Like any other cyst, whether it be a fibroid cyst, ganglion cyst, there's just, I guess what makes it troublesome is what part of the body it's growing in or attached to.
Yeah, it's her wrist.
A wrist? Yeah, it's probably uncomfortable because is it on the bottom of her wrist?
Yeah, the inside of her wrist. So
Right.
anytime she bends it,
Yeah.
oh my goodness.
I could see it be uncomfortable, especially that area, because you're moving and using it all the time. And a cyst is a hard tissue. It's not going to bend and move very easily. So there's a lot of pain and inflammation there. I'm sure you're probably well aware of that. And it can get very, very severe, but most of the time it's fairly mild. It's more annoying than anything else. But again, like I said, just the aloe and the enzymes is probably the two best things that are going to really deal with it on a long-term basis. You can also have it surgically removed. It's really not a big deal because, like I said, there's nothing there that's life-threatening at all, just kind of a nuisance.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Hello, Ron. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure can.
Hey, Ron, I have a quick question in regards to adrenal fatigue and
Yeah.
and kidney issues. What you know, kind of what usually ends up causing the adrenal fatigue, and what's the best way to kind of start repairing it, or at least trying to head in that direction, anyways?
Okay, well, first of all, adrenals are just like your other glands, like your thyroid, like your pituitary, like your pineal glands. They produce hormones. And, you know, your adrenals, they get stressed to where they become very ineffective at regulating hormone balance in the body. That's why you're so, I guess, for lack of a better term, screwed up and in la la land and extremely, extremely tired all the time when you have adrenal fatigue. And stress is the biggest by far culprit that actually causes stress and deteriorates adrenal effectiveness and adrenal functioning. And your adrenals are just a specific set of glands that release hormones. It's a specific set of hormones that go along with the adrenals. But you are very extremely fatigued when you have adrenal failure or adrenal stress. And if it gets so severe to where you actually have an adrenal collapse, where there's no efficient functioning and balancing of the adrenals, then you move in towards a disease or a condition known as Hashimoto's. And that's also going to bring in your thyroid, where it's all collapsed, messed up, doesn't even work. Then you have to go back to almost everything for your adrenals. You're going to look at the B complex vitamins. You're also, for the thyroid, you're also going to look at iodine because it's the main nutrient for the thyroid gland. Vitamin D3, some good forms of calcium to alter the pH. Adrenals, and let me just tell you, adrenals, there's no quick fix for any of that stuff. This takes years. We're not even talking months, we're literally talking years. If you get really bad adrenal fatigue, you have to first of all find a way to reduce or eliminate the stress that's causing the fatigue to the adrenals. And I always say, you know, use your head. A lot of people, I'm able to do this because I was given the tools to do it. I learned how to eliminate stress from my life. And you can't really eliminate it if it's part of your household, part of your bills, part of your life. But you can look at it differently to where you don't get stressed out about it. You just try to change the things you can't. It goes back to serenity prayer. And I recite that prayer all the time. You know, God grant me the wisdom to change the things I can't, I can accept the things I can't, and the wisdom to know the difference between the two. And there's just, that is going to be your best factor right there, because there's not a lot of supplements and the steroids and all that stuff. They come, but at a high price, paid for by your body's overall health. So first thing I would do is the multivitamin, the complete vitamin plus, has iodine, has the vitamin D3, has the B12 complex. I mean, that's probably one of the better things you can do, is just get on that complete vitamin plus and just stay on it, knowing it's going to take you literally 6 months to 2.5 years to fully restore that and change the course of that adrenal fatigue. And the biggest factor is, don't get so stressed out. Don't let the little things bother you. Don't get stressed out about anything that you don't have the power to control or change. And that's where people get sucked in, because they don't think they have the power to change it. And you've got kids, you got bills, you got a husband, you got relationships, you got a job. A lot of those things you can't change, but the way you look at it, the way you deal with it can just dramatically change. like I said, everybody has the ability to give any moment in time the meaning. And only we as individuals can give anything or circumstance or event in our life meaning. Nobody else can do that for us. That's all upon us. And so that's going to lead you to your choices and good decision, bad decision, consequences, rewards, all that kind of stuff. But I don't want to get into a psychobabble session here at all by any means. But that's use your mind. Use your mind instead of drugs and pills. That's going to be your best friend. Take time out for you. If you're not going to take time out for you, who the heck's going to give you permission to take time out for you? You just do it because you need to do it. You need a little break from all the stress. And that will help to put you in a better mood. It'll take a lot of inflammation away from the body, but it'll also put you in an environment where you could actually move forward to try to rebuild that adrenal fatigue. Not just let it get the best of you and just live a crappy life every day.
Right. Wow. Very, very beautifully said, man. Very beautifully said. Yeah.
Okay, good. Anybody else? Nobody else has any questions, comments at all? Any viewpoints on the coronavirus, COVID-19?
Yeah, Ron, I wanted to say something about that. I was reading a stat saying, okay, now they're saying between the 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds, now they're suddenly their stroke numbers have gone through the roof.
Right. Yeah.
You saw that, right? And right away.
Well, they were talking about this on TV tonight on Fox News. I turned to CNN. They were having the same segment almost, but with different people. They're going to make this coronavirus to where, all of a sudden you'll be able to go to the bathroom and take a dump because of the coronavirus. I mean, it's just getting ridiculous. People die every day from strokes, heart attacks, this, that, and on and on. And they don't know whether that's caused by the virus or not. Right. And that's one thing that's really ticking me off is, all these numbers, the 60,000 that they finally reached, 60,000 plus deaths in America, less than 15% of all that is accurate. All those people that died and had this so-called virus in them, they could have died from a heart attack, a stroke, from diabetes, from all the things that they're dying from, even old age, like all these people in the old folks centers, even the common cold or flu. Nobody's even talking about that. All these people died of COVID-19, not normal influenza. And remember, on average, every single year in America, 48,921 people die. That's just an average for the last decade. 48,921 people died on average every single year of influenza. So, they're just trying to dump everything into Corona or COVID-19. It's ridiculous. I don't buy into that stuff whatsoever. Not a bit.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is now people are locked down, so they're not moving around as much. And, when the lack of circulation, obviously those numbers are going to go up, right?
Sure. Yeah, everybody's at home. They got this peak anxiety.
CMS, they changed it.
You want to have a heart attack, go ahead and stay at home for a month or 2 months, especially with people that you might get along with, but you don't really care to be around that much. So, yeah, a lot of this stuff is just bringing it on because of the environment which the government's forcing us all to live through each day.
Right.
Especially a heart attack and stroke.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just be locked up in your house or your yard for a couple months. That anxiety is going to go through the roof, and boy, it could definitely cause a heart attack or stroke.
Yeah.
And look at no exercising if you're diabetic. Can't get out and walk, can't get out and do this, can't get out and do that. You're literally forced to do it in your living room, and most people just aren't going to do that. And that's just the sad facts. So now your diabetes gets worse and worse and worse because you're not maintaining physical activity to burn off that blood glucose.
One other question I do have, Ron, is it goes back to herniated disc.
Yeah.
So the issue is in the L5, S1 area region where the disc is now herniated and the jelly-like substance is now pressing down on a nerve, which is, causing the ankles to not have a reflex. I know I've already talked to you about this, but but I do want to kind of get your, like, what's happened now is I'm walking around, all that kind of stuff is fine. I can do everything, but the numbness in my feet is still there. And just the ankle reflex is not kicking properly, or not kicking at all, actually.
Right. Well, one thing about herniated discs, and I can speak to this personally because I was literally laying on the floor for almost 6 months. I literally slept there, ate my food off of the carpet, couldn't even move because I had multiple herniated discs with that synovial fluid, which is what you're talking about, that seeps through the membranes. And it just looks like this big old kind of jelly ball pushing out in between your joints. And that gets extremely painful. But I'm going to tell you something, as hard as it is to do, the best thing that would help that is exercise. Crazy as that sound, exercise. Stretch that spine. Do the Kegels, you know, like the humped up cat. Do those and then lay on your back and stretch your knee to your chest one at a time, and do your right knee first, and then grab your both hands or palms around your knee of your left knee and pull it to your chest, hold it to a count of 5. You do that alternating, and then grab both knees and pull it to your chest and count to 5 and stretch out that spine and stuff. That's the best thing you can do, because when that synovial fluid actually starts to protrude, it puts excessive pressure back on the joint, which is going to cause inflammation, which slows blood and slows nutrients. And that's why it's such a doggone hard thing to get a hold of and get ahead of. That's why it takes so long. I mean, I remember it took me almost a year to fully recover to where I could go back to work. And I couldn't even bend over. He said, touch your knees. I said, my hands won't go down that far. He said, no, bend over. I said, I can't bend anyway. I can't. And so when they took x-rays, I had 4 herniated discs. And believe it or not, it was just from lifting real heavy cases of product the wrong way. That was my injury. Just lifting too much heavy weight extended out from my body. So doesn't take a lot. I mean, you don't have to go get in a car accident or go off a cliff with a motorcycle or something stupid like that. Nope. If you're going to be throwing around a lot of weight and a lot of boxes, you better learn how to do it properly, because they can really mess your back up for a long time.
Wow. Okay.
But I would just say the stretching exercises, and make sure you stay hydrated. That's another thing that most people don't do nearly enough of, especially when they have an injury, is hydration. Because remember, the human body at a cellular enzymatic level all functions, every single cell functions from hydration and nutrients. And nutrients are okay to activate enzymes, but again, if you start getting dehydrated, you're not going to get near the efficiency or effectiveness of your body's functionality capability at all.
Right.
So make sure you drink at least half the body weight in ounces of water every single day.
Okay.
Yep. And do you know when I say a Kegel? Do you know what that is, Sanj?
Is it just like from what I understand, it's like, you know, that muscle when you're like well, pretty much when you're like, you know, you're urinating, and if you want to stop the urinating, that muscle that you squeeze and then you let go. Am I talking about the right muscle?
No.
Okay.
What happens is a Kegel is when you get on all 4, you're both you're literally on your knees and your hands on the carpet.
Right.
And then you literally contract your stomach and hump up like the black cat during Halloween. And you hold that for about 5 seconds, and then you release it. And then you wait about 2-3 seconds, and you do it again. And try to do as many of those as you can, about 25, 30 of them. And you do it every day, because what does that do? You're arching your spine in the different direction in which those protrusions of fluid are actually coming out.
Oh, wow.
That's why it's important to do both of them. And then when you lay on your back and you lay flat with your legs fully extended, your arms to your side. And then, like I said, you slowly bend one knee up, you grasp it with both hands by the palm at the knee, and then you pull that to your chest as far as you can, but try not to bend your head. Try to make it, just pull it up as close to your chest as you can. And then once you get it up there, you hold it for a count of 5. And then you let it down real slowly. Then you grab your left knee and pull it up there and count to 5. And you just, that's your stretching exercise. And then you grab them both, make sure both legs and knees are together. You just clasp your hands around both your knees, and then you pull both your knees up together and hold it to a count of 5. And you try to do 20 of those for each individual leg or both. So by the time you're getting done, you should have done about 60 knee compressions.
And how many sets of reps are you saying about the Kegel?
Well, I always try to do at least a minimum of 20.
Okay.
If you can do 30, 30 is better, but you want to get in at least 20 of them. And like I said, always rest about 2-3 seconds before you start arching up and sucking in your stomach and really, really tightening that up, because that's going to help to tighten up your stomach, which is going to make your back much stronger.
Right.
And believe it or not, it does help reduce the inflammation tremendously.
Okay. Wow. Thank you.
All righty. Anybody else have any questions, comments? Anybody? I noticed we had Kathy Deason on here. How are you doing, Kathy? I think she's muted out. There she is.
Can you hear me?
Doing? Yeah, I can now. How you been doing?
Pretty good. I am getting stronger. The tumor's not shrank any yet, but I know you have told me it takes quite a while.
Right, yeah.
But I'm doing all the stuff you told me to do.
And it's not getting any worse, so that's a really good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing that anybody that deals with any kind of tumor in their body, one of the big successes is when you finally get it to stop growing. As long as it's stopped, and then it's just going to stay there for a little bit, might even be 3-4 months, but there will be a time when it starts to reverse itself, and that's when your immune system's got a hold of it and is breaking it down. So.
And you will be one of the first to know.
Okay, I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Ron.
Thank you. Anybody else? And then if there's nobody else, I'll just turn it over to Dover and let him kind of go from there or close it out, whatever he thinks we need to do. Anybody else have any comments? Yes.
Yeah, this is Ron Hall.
Hey, Ronnie.
Hey, got a quick question. Have you got an update on your product?
He was talking to him.
Oh.
As far
which
as,
one
do you
specifically
think
are
they're
you
being
wondering
pushed
about?
out further or anything?
What's that?
It says
Do you
mute.
think they're being pushed out further from what you anticipated?
Well, first of all, remind me what I anticipated.
Well, I think you were saying maybe Steromax and all could be pushed out. What you got now, you was concerned about, some of the products not being available to make your product.
I'm out of Steromax, have been for weeks. It's still available on the internet, but I am completely out on the wholesale side of the business. There's just a big empty pallet back there with nothing on it. In fact, there's 2 pallets side by side with nothing on it for Steromax. And I've got it in process. Like I was sharing earlier, I got real dumb lucky. I just happened to call to check to see what the availability was, because I didn't think I was going to get it in till September, October, which means I wouldn't have a finished product until January or February 2021. And the day that I called, the previous day just before that, Canada closed their borders. So the sprouts that I use in my formula were actually available because they had to cancel an order going to Canada. So I'm still hoping that I can get that in somewhere in July, early July. That's my target date for that. The 270 enzymes, I'm completely out of those. I don't think that, but again, the website, the enriching.com site has them, but I don't see that coming in till probably sometime in August, maybe even September. But like I said, your best bet is to go to the enriching.com website. I know that she still has a pretty decent supply. They ordered up quite a bit at my advice when I knew this thing was going to hit before everybody else ordered and cleaned me out. I have calcium on order. I think I have a little bit of that left yet. The amino acids are on sale. I have quite a few of those. And those had a messed up code date. They came in with a 1-year code date instead of 3. And then the 180 counts that I received in January came in with a 5-year code date instead of 3. So we had some people at the lab that just weren't quite on top of things, and I think that we've let one of them go. So let everybody know we're pretty serious about it. You got to be on top of this stuff.
So your amino acids, they're still on sale. I noticed last week they were on your website, but tonight I looked and it had been removed off your website. So,
Yeah, nope, they're back on sale, and I'm going
Okay.
to sell till we get rid of the 1-year code date group, and then I'll reorder them.
okay, great.
Yeah.
So you don't foresee you running out of anything this year then? Really?
Well, I'm actually out of 270 enzymes, and I'm out of Steromax, and I'm completely out of Complete Vitamin Plus. Like I said, I know the website has some inventory, and I don't even know how much inventory she has and stuff, but I don't think she can be running out this month or next month. Because like I said, they stocked up on them pretty good.
Yeah, okay.
So always go to enrichinggifts.com. Because I even know that other websites have ran out of product now, and they're trying to get in the 180 counts to substitute for 270s and stuff. And there's a couple of wholesalers out there, but I probably won't release their names or anything unless we get in a real dire situation where everybody's out of it, because I don't ever want to have people be without this stuff. Because literally, I keep going back to last year. Actually, it was 2 years ago, January. We ran out of the Steromax in June, and I couldn't get anything back in until February of the following year. And 7 people had passed away because we didn't have that product for them from cancer. So I'm never going to let that happen again. And like I said, I just got so dumb lucky. I had ordered a whole bunch of inventory last October, November, December, and it started coming in January, February. And then all of this stuff hit. So it was just stupid, just like I just received in 2 weeks ago, 10,000 bottles of probiotics. And we had 10,000 bottles of daily detox come in what was it, November, I believe, of last year. And so I'm just getting ready to pack this whole warehouse to the ceiling, to the walls. And boy, it just cleaned me out of about 75% of everything. But like I said, there's no complete vitamins, there's no 270 enzymes, there's no Steromax whatsoever in my wholesale warehouse. I'm out. And the earliest I'll be getting that stuff back in will be probably early to mid-July and August.
One last question.
Yes.
So the daily detox, I know we spoke about that a little bit last week.
Yeah.
If you're in good health, you know, I take all your products and everything, I eat pretty good. Is daily detox something that you should take every day, or do you take?
No, I'm really glad you asked this. Daily detox, first of all, let's back up. Why wait until the body becomes so polluted that you have problems and bowel eliminations and all kinds of toxicity? Don't do that. So when you think about the toxicity that I'm talking about, where's that toxicity coming from? It's from your stools sitting in your body for hours and days, sometimes even weeks. I remember I did a conference call. One of my wholesalers, he was in the ears, nose, and throat department at Walmart. And he had a little band program he put together, little rubber exercise band and stuff, kind of like what Marie Osmond does with Nutrisystem and that kind of thing. But anyways, I remember doing a conference call to a lot of the members that he had through the Walmart organization. And this one gal, she's a physical fitness instructor, and she competes like on the Ninja Warrior. That was her thing. And she thought she was just in excellent health. And so I says, well, everybody thinks that. It's kind of like Dover and I, we can laugh about this now, but I go back to Cancun and I made a flyer for everybody could sign up for the blood analysis. And on the front of that flyer, it says, are you really as healthy on the inside as you think and feel you are on the outside? 90% of people aren't. They just aren't. So when I'm talking about getting rid of toxicity, I'm talking about improving your bowel elimination with the enzymes and the other supplements, but make sure that if you're eating 2-3 meals a day, you better be eliminating at least 2 meals a day. And that third meal the next morning before 8 to 10 a.m. And that's good, healthy bowel movements. And without good, healthy bowel movements, your body is becoming toxic, because the longer that crap, literally, I'll use that word literally, the longer crap sits in your body, it's going to eventually, parts of it breaks loose and gets embedded into the GI tract wall. And some of that stuff can actually be reabsorbed in the circulating bloodstream when it gets impacted deep enough. So the daily detox is to make sure you have at least 2 to 3 bowel movements a day if you're eating 2 to 3 meals a day. Once you eat a good meal, even a meat meal should be eliminated in no less than 8 hours to 10 hours. That's typical for a steak or a prime rib or a pork chop or a couple pieces of chicken. You eliminate that actual meal about 8 hours later. A normal vegetarian meal can be eliminated within 4 to 5 hours after it's consumed. Because all you're doing is breaking down a little bit of fiber. There is no muscle tissue meat to sit there and grind on for the next 10 hours. And that's where everybody becomes toxic, is through these heavy muscle tissue meat foods, like your turkey, beef, chicken, pork, lamb, those kind of things. So do you need to take the daily detox every day? No, just look at how are your bowel movements. Do you have a minimum of at least 2 to 3 bowel movements every day? If you do, then you don't have to have that product.
Okay. Well, and I was kind of thinking that, and I don't have a problem with my bowel movement. I was just kind of taking like 1 or 2 a week, thinking that may help clean my blood.
Well, it definitely helps, because I'll tell you what's in that product, the Daily Detox, is all kinds of herbs that destroy parasites. The worms, the flukes, the liver flukes and the hookworms and stuff, kills them and their eggs. So that will have a constipation effect, or you'll have a really sore gut all the time when that stuff really gets to building up in your organs and tissues. So it's got that aspect to it too. But the main reason I focus, and that's why it's called Daily Detox, detoxify your daily, make sure the bowel movements are at least 2 to 3 every day. If you're eating 2 meals a day, should be eliminating at least once to twice every meal. If you're eating 3 solid meals, you better be eliminating at least twice a day. Because if you're not, start adding that up at the end of 30 days, 1 meal a day that doesn't get eliminated. By the end of the month, you got 30 meals that you're behind on. And that is toxic as heck. And it's anaerobic organisms, and it's cholesterol, it's uric acid that's oxidizing and building up in your joints and your organs as gallstones, kidney stones.
Oh, no. Send it out.
Yeah, it's just not good.
Okay.
So that's the way to use that product, though. Great question. I appreciate that, Ronnie.
Well, and I got one more I thought of real quick.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Basically, like I say, I take all your products, every one of them. So does it come a time that you should take a break and just, take a week off and not take anything? I mean, I hear that from people, where you need to give your body a break. Don't take anything for a week. Is that true?
No, because again, like I say, the Steromax, the enzymes, you start giving your body a break and it's going to go right back to the old way it used to function. And it's not good. Your health will start to decline. Your energy levels will go down. Your soreness and stiffness will start to come back. No. When you find things that will give your body the ability to have a much higher level of health functioning at a cellular and enzymatic level, you don't ever stop that. Because your body is not going to get younger. Your body is not going to go backwards. It's only going to get older and older and less efficient as we age. That's just a fact of life, and it's a fact of science.
Well, that's kind of what I was telling this person, because my understanding from listening to you, pretty much all your products, your body uses up that day. It's not like it's stored.
Correct. Right. No, it's not going to store anything. And your body cannot function without nutrients. So when you think about that, you stop taking nutrients. Yeah, you can go for a few weeks if you fast, but what your body isn't going without nutrients. It's literally breaking down your muscle tissue, your stored fat, all the oxidized food and junk that never got properly digested that's circulating in the bloodstream. So fasting is good to a point because it forces your body to cleanse itself. And your body uses all of that junk that's not properly digested nutrients to function from. But your body never, ever stops using nutrients. 24 hours a day, it's just eating it up.
Okay,
So
great.
if you stop consuming nutrients, then your body is going to suffer and turn to someplace else to find those nutrients. And a lot of times it will literally break down muscle tissue, which is your body's primary source of metabolism. the need for the body to burn huge amounts of calories.
Well, that sounds good. That answered my question. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, this genius that you had asking these questions and stuff, maybe bring him on here, and he and I can have a conversation and kind of work through where he gets some of his ideas from. And I'll show him through a conversation. It's not, combative or anything like. It's just going to be an intelligent conversation, to where a lot of the stuff just doesn't make sense when you start putting the math and the brains to it, especially common sense. It just doesn't add up. Not when you think it through from start to finish.
Right. Okay.
All
Thank
righty.
you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Hey, Ron, I want to add a little bit. There's a few things I want to touch on and great
Okay.
information. And just for just so everyone knows, we are looking at, and Ron brought it up, bringing on a special guest or someone that can have a conversation that, like he said, is not combative. We are looking to bring on guest speakers, just so everyone knows. We're going to have a format of topics that we're going to be covering, so that we can do one of many things, but we don't need to get into that on this call. So I also want to touch on Ron's questions about not taking the product, and we have some close family members. Ron, Elaine's husband.
Yeah. Right.
He's been on dialysis for 13, 14 years. When the average individual is 8 to 10 years on dialysis, and he definitely, and he's been on Ron's products for quite some time. The minute he does not take his enzymes, he goes downward. So I just want to throw that out there for one. So to take a break type of thing, like you said, I have personal knowledge of that myself,
Right.
and it's just not recommended. So I also wanted to, Michael Wu has a question. Before we get there, we were talking about product. That was the other question that was brought up. And I can tell everyone that we've been putting a lot of energy into the website in terms of tracking and making sure that what's reflected on the website is accurate. And I can say that within it's accurate. I won't say it's 100%, but it is accurate. So I just want to give a little bit of updates as to what the website is reflecting in terms of product, and make that distinction once again between when Ron says I'm out of product, he's really referring to his warehouse and his wholesale side of the Enriching Gifts label. Now, the flip side of that is we all talk to individuals, and they may want or need this product. So going to enrichinggifts.com, Talia and Steven out of Enriching Gifts there in Texas have a separate inventory that is specific for the enrichinggifts.com website. And they are not out of products. For example, the website shows that there's there's 1 to 200, 270 count enzymes available, as well as Sterile Max. There's over 40 of the Complete Vitamin Plus, 80 of the amino acids, 80 of the colloidal silver, 60 of the colloidal, 80 of the coral calcium, and over 100 of every other product on the website. And that's not to say that Talia and Steven don't have more in inventory that they haven't updated into the website, but there is product, so it's there. I just want to give that update for all of you on the call. And then last but not least, back to Michael Wu's question to you, Ron, and this is kind of interesting, and you'll get a kick out of it when I ask the question, but can spearmint tea detox really well?
Yeah, actually.
That's the question.
Yeah, I think Michael remembers me telling this story at a big convention out of Arizona. It's been 4 years this summer. So that's going to go back a few years, at least a couple anyway. I used to weigh, I hate to say it, 436 pounds. And I gathered that weight and kept that weight for well over 10 years. And I was trying to prove a medical point, that you can be severely obese and overweight and still have perfect blood. Perfect vital statistics, no high blood pressure, no coronary disease, no cholesterol issues, no gout issues, this and that. And so everybody says, geez, you're just not very good image of your products. And I'm like, well, that's all left up to interpretation, because if you took somebody my size, my weight, my age, they'd be diseased as hell having that kind of weight and walking around for that many years. And yet I had perfect blood. In fact, one doctor actually sat there and called me an alien because my HDL cholesterol was higher than my LDL cholesterol, my bad. He said, that can't be. They went and tested me 3 different times within the same day, and the test results came back all the same. So he's like, man, looking at you, he says, I don't get it. How do you do this? And I said, you know, Doc, if I had the inclination you would be able to do something with it and help your own patients with it, I'd take the time and really extensively educate you about it. But I'm not even gonna have the conversation because you can't do a damn thing under your licensing. So just know that what you guys do it's not a one shoe fits everybody, and anybody can do this. And so after that, I proved my point, got my point across. Now I'm out to get healthy again. And I was out and doing blood screenings out in Wisconsin, actually. And we were at an Amish community and did a big lecture. There was about 130, 140 people there. And went inside and had supper with them. And they gave me this unbelievable little drink. It's called garden tea. Well, I asked Susan, I said, what's in this garden tea? My gosh, I've never had anything that tasted so great. She goes, well, it's literally steeped spearmint leaves fresh from our garden. And then I put in just a little teeny bit of agave syrup. And I said, real? What's agave syrup? I mean, I didn't even know what agave syrup was. You know, it comes from the agave cactus back then. So anyway, so I'm sitting there at the table and I must have drank 3-4 glasses. And I said, you know what? I like this stuff better than I do Pepsi or Mountain Dew. This just has an unbelievable taste to it. And I like that thing so much that I started drinking 2.5 to 3 gallons every single day. And I did not change my diet. I did not exercise. I didn't change a darn thing other than dramatically increased my hydration from probably about maybe 3/4 of a gallon to about 3 times that. And literally the weight just started flying off me. And I lost 142 pounds in less than 8 months just by consuming spearmint tea. And then I got somebody and I'm going to tell you, this is how bad it was. And when I say bad, I mean good. I hadn't seen my guy that sold me our big motorhome RV in almost a year. And then this guy, Gary, you know, you bowl, and after the spring, you take the whole summer off and you don't see anybody for the fall. Well, anyway, I didn't bowl that one year because I just got so busy with traveling with the business and stuff. So he hadn't seen me in a year as well. And this is so hysterical because this all happened within 3 days of each other. So I'm sitting there getting back from my motorhome and my big little bus lecture tour across the United States, and my motorhome needs some what do you want to call it? Tender care, some updating and some little bit of warranty work done. So I took it in to drop it off for the summer so that they could go ahead and work on it so I'd have it ready for the fall trip. I went walking through the front door, and Stan, my salesman that sold that motorhome to me a couple years prior to that, he's sitting there and he looks at me really queer-eyed funny, like, yeah, I think I know that guy, but I'm just not sure. You know how that goes. So all of a sudden he sits there and he comes around from around the desk and he says, "Are you Ron Schneider?" And I said, "Yeah." And he says, "Holy cow, wow, you've lost a lot of weight." And I said, "Yeah, sure did." And he says, "You don't have cancer, do you?" I said, "No, you can lose weight without having cancer." He said, "Oh my God, you're so skinny compared to what you used to be." He said, "Man, you know, I've heard of people losing a lot of weight if they have cancer. It's hard to struggle, they struggle to keep the weight." And I said, "No, I don't have any cancer." This was on a Monday. Wednesday afternoon, I go into Ace Hardware here locally in Miles City where Gary works, the old bowling buddy. So I go in there and I'm going over to the fertilizer section because I'm getting ready to fertilize my lawn and stuff. And Gary comes walking out of the plants up the aisle and he looks. He gave me the same dumb look that Stan, the RV guy, did. And he sits there and looks, he must have been 30 seconds to probably even maybe as long as a minute before he said a word. And he says, "Ron?" I said, "Yeah, how you doing, Gary?" He says, "Oh my God, you've lost a lot of weight." And he says, "You don't have cancer, do you?" 2 times, 2 different people in less than 3 days. And he's a person that actually survived cancer. And he struggled with real rapid weight loss and stuff. He said, you better get checked out. If you don't have it, he says, boy, you know, that's one of the first signs you start losing weight and you can't explain it. I said, oh, I can explain it. So I told him what I was doing and stuff. And since then, I started sending out plants from our garden. All Dover has some in Seattle. We drop them off in Bozeman, Washington. We send them off and ship them off to West Virginia, Florida, out to Wisconsin and Ohio. I mean, I bet you we ship those spearmint leaf little plants to about probably at least 22, 23 different people. And it works. Spearmint, not peppermint, has a unique ability to cause fat cells to purge fat to the bloodstream to be metabolized. They're a great way to detoxify your body of fat. And the other part of that puzzle was, I am still to this day totally convinced that the reason that works so well is because most people that struggle with weight loss, they're so focused on eating, they don't keep themselves hydrated. And if your body struggles with hydration, all of your cell functionings are going to be very, very inefficient. Your percentage of activity and stuff can be lowered by as much as 20 to 30%. You're just not going to be able to metabolize and lose weight and burn fat. That's the bottom line. So, and like I said, I didn't exercise. So it was a real big puzzle to me. So I started looking into spearmint and the properties of spearmint. And boy, oh boy, little did I know, but it actually has the ability to stimulate the purging of fat from fat cells. And once the fat is in the bloodstream, your body's going to use that as an energy source first and foremost, next to blood glucose. But the fact that you can purge it, get it into the bloodstream and metabolize, that was fascinating to me. But yeah, so I'm telling you, I mean, I've almost thought about just letting that garden just take over and then just picking the leaves out and stuff and then selling it, because you go to Walmart, very seldom, there's very few stores that have it, but there are a couple. And I notice when either you go to Whole Foods or to Walmart, you're going to get maybe about 10, 15 little leaves in there for about $3.99 for 10 or 15 little leaves. I'd much rather send you 3-4 plants for $3.99. Grow your own. And the spearmint that we have, it just literally takes over. You could plant 3-4 plants in less than 2 years, have a whole spearmint tea farm that's about 15 feet wide or long by about 3 feet wide. And you could do that with just 2-3 plants and it'll just grow like crazy. All you need to do is just keep it in sunlight, keep it in the water. You can't keep that stuff under control. It'll grow and take over anything and everything it's even close to. So that's the thing about the spearmint. But there's a lot.
And I can tell you, I've seen it. Yeah, firsthand at the training center, and it grows rapid, and it's a great drink. So yes, thank you.
So will the spearmint hold its properties if you freeze them or if you dry them?
Yeah. No, here's the thing, Sanj, because what I do, and everybody should listen to this closely if you can find spearmint in your area. What I do is I go out and pick the leaves off the vine, and the best time to get them is when the plant is about no more than 1.5 to 2 feet high. If it gets taller than that, the leaves are going to get bigger and they're going to get really coarse and they start getting bitter. But if you get fresh young leaves and you just pick those stems completely raw, I put usually about 6 to 8 cups. Because it takes a couple of times in the Vitamix when we do decide to make our concentrate. But we just pick the leaves right off of there, bring it in, smash it in a 72 or 64 ounce Vitamix cup pitcher, and then we just smash it in there as much as we can, fill it about 3/4 full, and fill the rest with water. And then fill it full, put the lid on it, and then leave it run for about 3 minutes. And that thing is just dark green, really, really dark green. It's almost like a spirulina green. And then what we do is we just finish adding some water to it to fill it up. And then we put it in 1 ounce little cylinders. They're not square cubes, they're long round rods. And they're 1 ounces a piece, and there's 24 of them in a thing. And we freeze them. So 1 ounce of spearmint tea concentrate, I can literally drop it into a gallon jug of water. And then I just add 4 tablespoons of light agave syrup. Shake it around like this, and man, I'm telling you, you will never, ever, ever even think about touching a soft drink of any flavor, any kind. That thing is just out of this world. It's so refreshing as a summer drink. It's really, really nice and calming as a winter drink in the wintertime. Heat it up as a tea, a hot tea. I'm telling you, it's just an amazing drink. And it works. It works really well. My daughter, I just met with Talia this afternoon, a couple hours ago. They're in town for her grandma's funeral. I shouldn't say in my town. They're about 45 miles away in Forsyth, Montana. But the first thing I get out of the Jeep and stuff is Talia and Stephen both looked at me kind of funny and says, "Did you lose some more weight?" I said, "Yeah, I'm still losing weight." So when you said, "Hey, you look like you lost a little weight in Dover," remember a couple weeks ago? Yeah, I have. It's funny, and it's easy to keep off. I'm not exercising. I don't have to run. I don't have to specialize my diet or anything like that. It's really great. So,
Awesome.
yep.
That is great. So we've got a couple comments here, Ron. Steve said, "Wow, you lost a third of your weight."
Yeah. In 8
Um,
months.
and
8
then
months
we,
is all it took.
yeah, in 8 months, right? Then we also have the previous conference line, the Enriching Gifts conference line, is merged into the Zoom call here. So if anyone on that call, if you're listening in, if you're muted out, if you have a question, please unmute yourself, ask your question. We will be bringing that line in one more week into this call, and then we're going to wrap it up here let me mute that out because I'm getting some feedback. But again, if you always go to the enrichinggifts.com website, there's a banner right across the top or the middle, portion of the top of the screen, and it says weekly conference call, and it has the updated link and conference line that we use each and every week here. So that's the way to stay updated and plugged in. So if anyone has a question or a comment for that line as well, please come on out and ask your question.
Yeah, I just want to make one
Any
comment.
questions or comments for Ron? Yes,
Yeah,
Ron.
I just want to make one comment. For all the people that don't have access to the internet and we're using the old 646 number, just call me and I'll give you the new number off of the website.
Perfect.
Because we do have people on those phone calls that don't have access to internet.
Sure. And Roderick, I'll connect with you on that offline, and we'll troubleshoot that and make sure that no one gets left behind. So anyone else have a question or a comment?
Yeah, I'm gonna come back if nobody else has a comment. I'd love to come and talk to you about something real quick, Ron. Here,
Sure.
I was watching the, God forbid.
I'm having a real hard time hearing him.
How's this, Ron? Is that a little bit better?
Yep, that's good.
Okay, so like I was saying, God forbid that we have to plan for any type of a famine type of situation down the road. But what they're saying on the news, they're trying to pump that fear. I don't know if it's real or not, but in regards to that, I know you were talking about your whole food vitamins on the last call, but let's just say, for a prepper, as a prepper, is it best to just stock up on the vitamins and kind of hold on to them if at least for nutrition wise?
Well, I don't want to create shortages until we have to, kind of like the toilet paper thing. But my wife and I, we've already got at least 5 cases of vitamins, things like that, set aside for our own personal use. Because I went through a winter one time where I gave away my last half a bottle of Steromax and enzymes, and doggone if I didn't start catching a cold. And I never ever catch a cold. I mean, never. I don't have a sniffle, a sneeze, and nothing. And so we definitely have a prepper supply. And like I said, my neighbors up at my training center, Don and Rod and a whole bunch of them up there, they kind of laugh at me because I showed them my downstairs in my training center, where you've got the whole bathroom, the entire back wall is nothing but toilet paper. There's probably got to be at least 700 to maybe 900 rolls of toilet paper in that big bathroom downstairs. And then you got paper towels in the next room. And then you got a closet all the way across the top with a whole bunch of different stuff. And so when this thing hits, and this, I'm telling you, this is going to be the new norm. They are just dead hell bent on destroying this country and its economy and the dollar currency. So I'm just going to tell you things might get better, but for how long? I think by 2030, there's going to be a huge look back and say, where did my country go? This doesn't even look like the country I grew up in or I even remember 10 years ago. And I don't want to stoke fear in anybody, but that's just my gut feeling, knowing what I know, as much as I know, as much as I've traveled around the world, as long as this crap's been going on. This is the furthest and deepest this has ever been pushed. And it's very easily being pushed. Everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. And fear of getting fined or fear of thrown in jail and different household members turning in different household members to the police and authorities. It's craziness. So, but yeah, those vitamins, like I said, all my products, with the exception of the amino acids and the 180 count enzyme, but it's the same formula as the 270 count. All my products have been tested for stability and nutritional deterioration for up to 5 years. And 99% or more is fully retained in all my products up to 5 years. So
Wow.
if you got 99% retained up to 5 years, what makes you think you wouldn't have 75% over the next 5 to 10 years? So yeah, I wouldn't be afraid to stock
Hey, Ron?
up. Like I said, this probably is going to turn out to be our new norm. Yeah.
I was going to add to that. I know someone and had an experience with someone that found some of your products like that were literally 10 years old, expiration date, 10 years past the expiration date.
Yeah.
And there was hard algae. There were several products, but I'll just talk about the three: the enzymes, the probiotics, and the detox. And this person had never had your product before, or at least in that amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And things started flowing. We actually did the oatmeal test with it, broke down the oatmeal 10 years later. And I wish I would have captured that on video. But anyways, I just wanted to say that, you know what, I know it's a 5-year expiry date. However, and not even expiry date, but whatever the term you use. But these products, they're amazing. And even your, if you could touch just briefly on the probiotic heat tempered and what that really means.
Yeah, well, they're able to tolerate not only just room temperatures or outside temperatures. This is an extremely tolerable, heat tolerable formula. We've actually exposed them temperatures of 148 to 155 degrees, and they still resist deterioration. We still have active probiotics that can actually break down different bacteria as well as food substances. So, but it's because of the technology and the commitment to quality that we have at our manufacturing, and me personally, because I brought a lot of this technology to the manufacturing when I first got there. You know, the first thing is humidity is the most volatile thing to all nutrients. Especially to vitamins and enzymes, because all enzymes are hydrolytically or water activated. So you even have a little bit of moisture in the room, and most manufacturing facilities have a 37 to 45% humidity in the room that they're actually encapsulating in. We've never gone above 7%. Most of it, our goal is to try to achieve 3 to 4%. That's why they're stabilized for so long, because there's no humidity or water moisture inside those capsules or that powder when they're made to actually activate and turn them on each other to where they'll deteriorate. So these are just some of the technologies we have, but our probiotics, yeah, they're extremely stable. I shared this story years ago when I first moved back to Montana from Phoenix, where I started my business in Scottsdale. 1996 was the exact year. And I left on June the 1st. And when I turned around and went to trading in my red Datsun on a newer Chevy pickup, I had to clean out my jockey box or the glove box. And in there was a unopened bottle of probiotics that the packaging looked like hell. I mean, you could see the wrinkle, the safety seal was completely wrinkled and shriveled and cracked. The label on the bottle was all shriveled up from it being expanded and contracting. And even the bottle had a little bit of discoloration in it. So I kept it because I thought, wow, I wonder whether this is even any good anymore. This is my research scientific mind going to work. So I thought, well, I've got a lot of money, so let's just go ahead and send one into Covance Laboratory, send one into San Diego Analytical. And it took me about 3.5 weeks to get both reports back. But when I got them back both, there were less than 3% difference in the total strains of bacteria that were in that formula. And that actually had a 17% growth, more living active cultures in that bottle than the day we assayed it and measured it for manufacturing when we put it in that bottle 5 years earlier. Because it had been expired for 2 years. Or I'm sorry, 3 years, and we already had an expiration date of 2 years. So that meant that bottle was 5 years from the day it was manufactured. And we actually had 17% more living active cultures in that product 5 years after it had been manufactured. And think about this, the heat, that bottle, the wrinkling and the discoloration of the bottle, the wrinkling of the label, and all that peeling and breaking down of the safety seal. That thing was exposed to a lot of heat for a lot of years because it sat out in the parking lot. And if anybody knows anything about Phoenix or Scottsdale, for April right now, you're hitting near 90 degrees. By May 1st, you've already hit 100. And by June 1st, you're usually hitting 110. And then you got May, June, July, August, and September, all well into the hundreds or higher. And then you roll up the windows and leave it sit there for 8 hours, 16 hours, 14 hours, whatever it was, the work shift. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. That thing even had one active culture in it that didn't stink to high heavens, would have killed somebody if they consumed it. So that just, again, that's another example of the kind of quality and commitment to quality that I actually have. And our technology is second to none. It is, you can't even call it leading, cutting edge. That doesn't even come close. We are in such a different ballpark than everybody else is in the nutrition industry with our technologies. So.
Awesome.
Yep.
Great stuff. We are at the top of the hour, just past it, Ron. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. We will be back here next week, same place, same time. And if you have any closing words for this evening's call, please share them with us.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for coming on the call. And like I said, I really want to encourage everybody to reach out to people that are in confusion, that are in hysteria, that are in fear with this COVID thing. Bring them on the call, and let's ease the fears and start telling the truth about the facts of what's going on. Just not what's being poured in everybody's brains every day and mind washing you or brainwashing you by the television set, because it's just not so. So thanks everybody, appreciate it, and we'll be here next week, same time, same station.